Did you hear about our new sponsor, Learn It? One of the best ways to support your team is by investing in their growth through practical learning experiences. And that's exactly what Learn It delivers. Their short, live workshops focus on the essential human skills we all need, like empowering others, managing change, and team collaboration. As a Speak with People listener, you get a free 45-day trial for up to 20 people. Start today by heading to learnit.com/speakwithpeople or click the link in the show notes and start your journey to investing in providing great growth for your team. Welcome to the Speak with People podcast, where we believe that healthy communication is the key to unlocking your leadership potential. We are the go-to resource for leaders looking to greatly improve their communication skills, whether it's one-on-one interactions, team settings, public speaking, or digital communication. By improving these skills, leaders can create stronger connections and drive positive change within their organizations. Each and every episode, we sit down with experts from various fields from around the world, just like you're grabbing a coffee with them, to dive into real, practical conversations. Our goal is to help you transform your communication skills so you can lead more effectively, build stronger relationships, and make a lasting impact. So go grab your favorite drink, settle in, and let's learn together. Well, are you finding it harder than ever to break through to your prospects and close deals? Especially in sales, especially as you're working one-on-one with clients. Maybe you're a manager and your team feels stuck. You're facing skeptical buyers. You're wondering what's happening with the up and down of the market. Lots of competition going on. Well, what if the key to unlocking your sales potential was simple, challenging, and it's all about rebuilding trust? Well, I cannot wait to dive into today's conversation. I have been looking forward to it. I spent a couple plane rides recently reading his books, and I read both of the books on the plane. If you would thumb through them, they are highlighted. I learned an absolute ton. Larry Levine is a best-selling author. He's the founder of Selling from the Heart. And I'm just so blessed to be able to have this conversation. Larry, welcome to the Speak with People podcast.
Hey, it's my pleasure. We're going to have a great time. I know we are. By the way, hey, thanks for reading both books.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely. I love it. And as a leader, I'm always trying to be a reader. And for me, when I ordered from your website, I absolutely loved, like, I don't know. I'm an experienced guy, right? So, I mean, come on. Like, I love that
You like
when
the
authors
red,
do
huh?
that.
The red's good.
Yeah. And I love the extras and, being able to point like right to your trust formula. I was like, this is insanely practical and helpful. I was like, okay, this is, you took me on a master class because my first book
Oh,
comes
it's
out in
all
the
good.
fall.
It's all
And
good. I
so
appreciate it.
it was great. Well, hey, before we hop into the conversation, tell us a little bit more about you. What's your story? Who are you? Where you been? What's got you to this place?
Oh, well, thanks for asking. I always tell people I'm just a guy. I'm just a guy who sold copiers in the LA marketplace for 30 years. Yeah, dog eat dog, highly competitive, laggard in nature, very commoditized. Uh, One of the toughest things I think he could possibly sell. But I learned something along the way in multiple decades in doing this, that relationships matter. The way you show up matters. The way you take care of your clients matter. Uh, Especially if you want them coming back for more and more and more of what you have to offer. You can't just sell and go. And that's kind of the environment I came out of. And in the twilight years of my career, I had to figure out what's next. And for me, what was next was helping salespeople and sales leaders see and achieve things they don't believe they can do on their own, which is building authentic relationships and bringing meaningful value and bringing trust to the forefront. Because whether people want to believe it or not, you're in the people business and relationship building business, yet people are messy, relationships are messy. And it's my belief we're just not coaching leaders and salespeople on their people skills and relationship building skills. That's my mission here at Selling from the Heart. Because, Jason, I just believe success happens when I contribute to a greater cause.
Ooh,
That's what I'm doing. I'm just elevating the sales profession by bringing heart authenticity and business substance to the forefront. That's my big mission.
wow. Wow. Well, that alone for some of our listeners who are, younger or they've pivoted and they're trying to figure out what to do with their life. How do I have a life mission? I mean, you just kind of gave us a master class on how to be able to communicate it. I mean, that in itself is worth the wait. That was amazing.
Yeah, no, well, thank you. I've always said this, right? There's that saying, I think I've heard it somewhere, with age comes wisdom. Plays out. It plays out, and I've always said this, and I'll continue to say it, is we're big believers at selling from the heart, and this plays out even, in the sectors that you work in, is if you guys are willing to do the inner work, you'll have all the outer success you'll ever achieve. And, so many of us are chasing outer success. I get it, right? I've been there, but no one's chasing the inner success. And that's being able to open up who you are. And that's why in the subtitle of Selling from the Heart, I talk about how your authentic self sells you. And, people are searching for that, but you got to be willing to go there. That's why the first 3, 4 chapters of Selling from the Heart is all about really uncovering who you are. If you can uncover who you are and bring that to the forefront, that's what people want.
Yep.
They don't want fakes, facades, and empty suits.
Yep. So let's just drill in on that for a second, because I'm already taking furious notes. Wholeheartedly agree. And even yesterday, I'm in Boston with Citizens, room filled with financial advisors. A couple of them are 25,
Mhm,
25. They're just
mhm.
trying to figure it out. Some of them are, my age, almost 50,
Yeah.
and they're going back and forth. And sometimes we've seen, maybe in some corporate teams, the sales folks who you just talked about, who maybe are more all about the facade, maybe who are more about the bright and shiny, they come across as that cheesy sales. Maybe in the short term, they might be on the top of the leaderboard. Their sales might be, why is that, for whatever reason, sometimes we as leaders think we've got to be somebody that we're not. We got to show up and be somebody that we're not, and maybe pretend that we're more polished than we actually are.
Eh, I think oh, wow, where can I even start with that? I think that no, but I see it is, everyone, this whole thing, fake it till you make it. I just don't buy into any of that stuff. Where we're at today, everyone's skeptical. Let's just face it. I don't care what industry y'all sell into, what business you're in. People are skeptical. People's BS meters are at an all-time high. Unfortunately, everyone's swimming for trust. And so when you put on this facade and you're pretending to be something that you're not because it looks good, you can look good on the outside, but be a train wreck on the inside. You're gonna get caught. You're gonna get exposed sooner or later. And so what I want everyone to start thinking about is you gotta do the work. You got I mean, I talk about it in Selling from the Heart, right? Fancy suits and nice watches and nice dress and fancy cars, all that usually mask insecurity somewhere. And that's not gonna help you sell. What's gonna help you sell is the more you build your confidence, the more you build the believability in yourself and your messaging, the more you build your self-worth, that's all gonna come across. But unfortunately, for many in sales, we're just operating from behind the 8 ball because previous track record, and there's rampant skepticism, as I mentioned. So, whether people wanna believe me or not, people can sense insincerity instant frickin' taneously. They really can. You may not think so, but here's what I want people to think about, and you may or may not even buy into this. That's okay for the people that are listening. I'm a massive believer, perception is reality. What I wanna understand is, what are those silent things going on in somebody's head that they're not saying? "Ah, this conversation is gonna go down just like all the others. I wonder if this person's trustworthy."
So, Larry, really intrigued in your thoughts. You have sold for a couple generations. Uh, And
Just a few.
just a few. And so now, as you see, I mean, 2025, right? It's so unique. Everybody's trying to figure out AI and Chat GPT, and everything's automated. Uh, why? Why is building trust more important than ever, and more important, more critical than ever in sales and with our clients?
And what's interesting is it's always been there. In fact, I look back. So that's just I'm gonna take people on a journey really quick. So I started my sales career in the late '80s. You still had to build trust. You still had to have conversations with people. You still had to connect to people. Now, granted, there wasn't all the technology that's available today, but you still had to do it. You had to do it in the '90s, and you had to do it in the early 2000s. You had to do it in the 2010 era, and you had to do it now in the 2020 era. It's no different. It's just that I think now more than ever, we've leaned into technology so much to allow us to connect and communicate that we've forgotten how to communicate. I've always said this, right? I just this is near and dear to me is I'm gonna make this sales centric if you'll allow me to. So I just think salespeople have become conversationally incompetent because they have leaned so much into technology and allowed technology to speak for them that they're behind technology instead of in front of technology. And so if I'm a buyer, so I'm gonna clump people's titles just into the word buyer, just so we don't have to name all these titles. I think a buyer today wants to engage in a very nice business conversation with a salesperson that can help them think different, that can help them see things different, that can help them do better business. And if you can do that, watch how fast you all build trust. But and we've alluded to it, earlier in our conversation. It's just with the rampant skepticism, previous track record, many in sales are behind the 8 ball because they're walking into conversations and that buyer's going, "Hey, I already know how this is gonna go down." Gonna go down just like all the other stuff that I've happened with salespeople over the last weeks, months, and so forth.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
by the way, I'm all for technology. I'm all for the use of AI. I'm all for whatever piece of technology is gonna come down, the pipe,
yep,
which it is.
yep.
But let's use this to allow us to communicate better, to connect better. Let's not use this to replace our own voice.
Absolutely. So back up for a second. I love what you're saying. What are some of those like super common mistakes that people are the buyers seeing in us where they're like, yeah, I've already come across that. Especially in sales. What are some of those common mistakes that we're making? Before we even realize it.
How about the way you open up a conversation just like everybody else? I'll use my name, right? I'll cap on my own self. "Hi, this is Larry Levine. I'm with Selling from the Heart. Let me tell you a little bit about my company, why I'm here today. Here's my products," and so forth. People get it. Something tells me that's still going on. In fact, here's what was interesting. This is just a couple days ago. I spent the day with a really great company that, is in the food service industry, and I spent a day with their global salespeople. Their global sales leader was there, and what was interesting, everybody in that room was an employee except for one person, and that one person was their best client in the UK. They brought this person over to tour their facility, hang out with them for 3 or 4 days. So what was really interesting is during the day that I hung out with this company, I asked this person who was their customer, "When's the last time you've been wowed by a salesperson?" She couldn't remember. Walk me through how most salespeople, because she deals with them. Walk me through what most salespeople do on their sales calls. And then I said to everyone in the room, really pay close attention to what's about ready to happen. She goes, "They all walk, talk, and act the same. They all start the first 5 minutes of every meeting the exact same way. Here's my name. Here's my company. Here's a little bit about our company. Here's our great products."
Yep. Yep.
Something tells me that's still happening today
Yep.
at rapid rates.
Golly. Absolutely. Yeah. Or they feel, maybe sometimes they feel, and I've been there, and I probably have done it recently if I have to really dive into it, but we feel like we have to tell them more about us or our achievements so they, go, oh, wow, I want to work with you, instead
Yeah.
of going right to their pain, addressing, how we can help make life easier for them, our product, all of those different kind of things.
Here's what's interesting. Everyone knows how important the T word is, trust. And I've shared this, especially, right? And you work in a highly relational industry. You serve a very highly relational industry. And here's the conundrum I see in highly relational industries. They get caught in this trap. And the trap is, I want to be liked and I want to be friends. I totally get it. I want to be liked and I want to be friends with people. But if I bring no business value, it's going to be hard for me to establish any kind of trust and credibility. I just got a bunch of friends that like me that occasionally may buy something from me. So, what I want people to think about is, if there's rampant skepticism, the BS meters are an all time high, people swimming for trust, every conversation you engage with somebody, are you building trust or eroding trust? By what comes out of your mouth? Am I connecting and relating to people? Am I pulling people into a conversation, or am I pushing people away from the conversation? And when we lean into this likability and friendship factor too much, bad things happen. They really do. And I'm not anti any of this. But what I want people to realize is, if you're in sales, the faster you build trust, the faster you build credibility, the faster things happen.
Yep. Wow.
But when
So,
but here's the deal is, it's okay to be liked and it's okay to be friends, but you gotta bring some business substance to these conversations.
yep. Yep. I love that. I love that. So walk us through, let's maybe go on two angles. First angle is those of us who we have to prospect. I mean, it's just it's a constant part of our role. And so I talked to a young kid yesterday, got his first sales job in software. He's 23. And I mean, he's just, they're sending the call sheet and he's just calling. And maybe maybe you get all of your prospects, or you have to go out and
Mhm.
find them. So walk us through that, for the as cold as can be. Maybe what are some steps we can take to build trust on that angle, and then after that we'll walk through, okay, maybe what if the leads are warmer or hotter, how we can build trust.
Perfect. And here, this is my belief. Some of you are gonna buy into this. There's gonna be some that may not, but I believe this, especially when it's cold, it's how fast can you connect and relate to somebody. Hear me out on this, please. It's how fast you can connect and relate to someone. By the way, when you're making cold outbound calls or you're pulling doors, they're not expecting you. And I'm not one for pattern interrupts and all the cutesy fancy things that salespeople are being taught. What I want to do is, if you want to be seen as a professional, act as a professional. And that is the art of communication, which I think is sorely lacking. So, if I'm picking up the phone and I'm calling Jason, and Jason happens to pick up the phone, and Jason's a financial advisor, it's going to go down something like this. And I'm abbreviating this, but it's going to go down something like this. Hey, Jason, In working with other financial advisors over the last 30 days, these have been the 3 things we've been engaging in conversations with that have helped them become better financial advisors. Point 1, point 2, point 3. I'm just curious, Jason, any of this hit home with you? Now, I can roll that out in 30 seconds. Now, some of you are gonna say, "No way. No freaking way." And there's others that are gonna go, "That's different." Keep in mind, I just believe this. The faster you get to business, the faster you get somebody to open up. What that basically has told Jason, I've been in conversations with other financial advisors over the last 30 days, and here are the 3 things that we've been talking about. He's talking to people just like me. Hey, I can align to one of those things. Great. Tell me more. Hey, Jason, I know you weren't expecting this call. I got some ideas. I don't know if they might work, but I got some ideas. Would you be open to a further conversation over the next couple weeks to discuss this?
Yep.
That's how that's that to me, that's an effective cold call.
Yeah. Oof. Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's switch to their side. A little bit, they're a little bit warmer lead. Maybe someone introduced them. Maybe they reached out to you, which is,
Okay?
gold. What are some steps we can take to build trust? I mean, I know it's along the same line, but where would you take us,
You can
Larry?
you can almost use the same thing. But I'll flip it around just a little bit. So say it's a warmer lead and Jason filled something out, or I was referred to Jason, so there's some kind of warmth there. I'm still gonna open up the but I'll open up the conversation something like this. Hey, Jason, I'm super grateful for our time together here today. And the reason why I say that is because you were expecting me to call you because, right, you requested something. Hey, Jason, I'm super grateful for our time together here this morning. I was just reading recently in the Financial Advisor Times that 75% of financial advisors are struggling in these areas, dot, dot, dot. Hey, I'm just curious before you get started, what are your thoughts on that? And then just pause and just start engaging in that conversation. I'm a massive believer, let the conversation go where the conversation goes. Just because Jason filled something out, I think the thing is the if the minute, like, somebody fills something out, "Hey, Jason, I see you just filled out something," or, "Let's just talk about what the things are you wanna talk about." I wanna talk about the same thing, but what I wanna do is I wanna open up with gratitude. I want to bring some insight into that conversation first by saying, "Hey, Jason, I was just recently reading in the Financial Advisor Times," totally made up name, but hey, I was just reading in the Financial Advisor Times. 75% of financial advisors are struggling in these areas. Isn't that interesting? Hey, I'm just curious, how do you see this playing out right now with you? And you just start talking and having a conversation, and then you weave in, "Hey, I understand that there's some interest around this, this, and that. Hey,
Yeah.
thank you for filling this out."
Yeah. Don't just hope for better client conversations. Equip yourself for them. The Speak with Your Client series is live from April 14th to May 30th, packed with powerful tools to help you build trust and close more deals without being salesy. Catch expert-led podcasts, weekly blogs, live webinars on Mondays, and grab your free copy of the High Trust Sales Playbook. Make sure you're following Speak with People on all the socials. Join the speakers group on Facebook or the Speak with Your Client LinkedIn group just for the series. Don't miss a moment. Everything's waiting for you at speakwithpeople.com/speak with your client. Your next client is counting on it. Boy, I love that. What do you think? Is it creepy? Is it important? Especially if maybe you're sitting down with a client for the first time. They're not a client yet, but you're building that relationship and you're getting face to face with them
Mhm.
to do some homework beforehand. Like, you're going through the LinkedIn page or, a couple of those kind of things. important? Is that, ooh, don't dig too deep, like don't ask, how their nephew's birthday party went, you know. But
Yeah, I mean, I think I see where you're going with this. I see importance behind it. I'm not discrediting it, and I think there's a time and a place for it. I just don't think it's in the very beginning. I really don't. I I like the small talk at the right time. Too many rely on the small, I call it small chitty chat conversation in the very beginning. By the way, they know it. People aren't naive to all of this stuff, right? They know, based on what comes out of your mouth, "Hey, I was just on your LinkedIn profile. By the way, hey, great, I see you went to University of Michigan or you went to University of Southern California." Th I mean, all that signals is you just spent about 3 seconds on somebody's LinkedIn profile to latch on to something to talk to somebody about. I'm not anti that, but again, it goes back to if you wanna be seen as a professional, act as a professional. I personally like open up all my conversations with acts of gratitude, and I get right to business. The faster I just my belief, the faster you all get to business, the faster you get to personal. The more you lean into personal, the slower you get to business. It's a mindset shift on all of this. So if I'm a financial advisor and I'm calling into whatever sector you're calling into, individual or corporate, hey, I want to be seen as a business person first before a person. Now that's anti what most people are going to want to be seen as. But again, I want to build trust and credibility as fast as possible. Yeah, I want to connect and relate to these people as fast as possible. But I want them to see me as a business person first. Yeah, I'm a human, they're a human. That's this is get that out on the table. But it's just I've seen it. I've seen both sides of this. When we lean into the personal too much, those can go down some paths. Keep in mind, everyone, you have asked somebody for 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, whatever that time slot is that you've asked for of their precious time. Why would you waste the first 15 minutes in small chitty chat conversation and have the person kind of looking at their wrist and their watch or picking up their phone and seeing what time it is?
yep.
I'm all for it at the right time.
Right. Absolutely.
Get what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's so we started with, talking a little bit about the internal, making sure our inner world, our heart is in the right place, it's healthy, our authenticity will come out of that. I'm meeting young folks all the time. I was just telling you, before we press record, met a 25-year-old yesterday. He's brand new. He's trying to figure out, how to gauge everything. And one of the things that came from him was like, I'm really trying to figure out how to talk to older people. And
Oh,
even in my eyes,
yes.
he looked at me like, I mean, I have a 25-year-old, like I'm the older person. And so walk us through maybe some practical advice for some of our younger sales folks who are, especially in the financial world, especially in some of those
Yeah.
industries, their main client is someone Gen X and above.
Oh, this is so good, and I'm so glad, so glad you brought this up. This is real world. I'm gonna share the real world story on this one. My son, my youngest, one of his closest friends is a financial advisor at the ripe old age of 31. Okay, he's still wet behind the ears, and I remember this as plain as day. It was about a year and a half now, maybe almost 2 years ago. I sat down with him at one of my favorite places to hang out, Starbucks, and started talking to him, and he just asked for some advice. Same thing you're going through. He goes, Larry, he goes, I'm really struggling. I'm this young guy trying to have conversations with people your age. my dad's age, my mom's age, I get intimidated. I said, listen, here's some advice. Go hang out and build a circle of good mentors and coaches that can help you along the way that are my age. You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
And
Yep.
here's the interesting thing. I got him to join my Kiwanis because I'm big into community service.
Yep.
I got him to join my Kiwanis group here locally in my city. Why? The freaking average age of my Kiwanis group is like 59 years old. Ideal, right?
Yep.
Serious. Hear me out on this. This is serious stuff. To all the 25-year-olds and the 30-year-olds, go get involved in Kiwanis, Rotary, your Elks Lodge, your Lions Club, things like that. Why? They're usually filled with middle-aged to senior type people. Now you're going to be amongst those people. You'll get comfortable talking to those people. In fact, you can even practice in front of some of those people. That's my advice, because there you will start finding your authentic voice, and you won't be intimidated by talking to somebody, because I can guarantee you this is what's going through every 25-year-old's head. "Hey, I'm talking to Larry. He's 60 years old. He's way smarter than me. What's he what that I he's not gonna listen to me. I'm a 25-year-old kid." You guys gotta stop that. Just stop it. Just bring business smarts. It doesn't matter what age you are. You gotta get out of the stories in your head, right? The stories in your head become the stories of your life. If you walk into that call and say, "You know what? I'm calling all these people. They're never gonna listen to me because I'm 25 years old." Guess what? They're never gonna listen to you. Everybody wants some help. I'll listen to a 31-year-old all day long if they bring me some ideas and all that can help me. Doesn't matter the age. But I think where it starts is you gotta build confidence and believability in yourself. Go hang out where people in their 50s and 60s hang out. Start becoming friends with them, watch their mannerisms, have them coach you along, engage in conversations with these people, give back to your community, go hang out where these people hang out. Mark my word, what happens? I I've seen it in the last 2 years with my son's friend's growth. It's amazing. He's grown his business, and he's grown his confidence because now he's learning how to engage with people 2 and 3 times his age.
So important. Wow. Wow. So good. Okay, let's flip the coin then. Because some of us, we've done something the same way for a long time. We get into a pattern, we get into a routine, and we think, I've done it the same way forever. I can't
Mhm,
change now. And then here comes these millennials and these Gen Zers, and they're disruptors. They're doing things differently. They
mhm.
talk differently.
Yep.
So how do we then on the other end, how do we look at that and say, okay, all right, I'm gonna have to, maybe look at ways that I've got to pivot or change, or walk us through that.
Eh, hey, this is good stuff. I think it's a mindset thing more than anything else. Is and there's nothing wrong with it. Everyone wants to have a comfortable life and all of that, but I do know this: deep down inside, everyone wants to become better. I just believe everybody wants to become better. It's just we just get caught in this comfort zone and this mindset that says, "You know what? I I'm making a comfortable living." I totally get it, right? I totally understand it. I'm making a comfortable living, don't rock the boat, leave me alone. Let me just let me just operate in the middle lane on the interstate. Just don't let me veer right or left, and they fly under the radar screen. But here's what I do know. Your customers and your clients, however you wanna refer to them, are changing. The marketplace is changing. Your community's changing. Everything around you is changing. The question is, why can't you change along with it? And that's the question that you gotta answer for yourself. But I do know this, if you did if right, if you're just cruising in your car at 65 miles an hour and you got cruise control on and you got tunnel vision and you're not looking to the left or to the right, you're gonna soon find yourself replaceable. Mark my word on that.
Ooh. Yeah. No, absolutely. That's
It may not happen right now. It
right.
may not happen right now. It may not
Right.
happen tomorrow. It may not happen a month from now.
Yep.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah. Absolutely. How do we help? Let's speak to the managers for a second. They're leading a sales team and they're starting to see, okay, maybe I've got some folks who, I need to replace, but I don't want to quite pull the trigger yet. I want to help them,
Okay.
kind of change and morph and transform. What are some of those first steps to be able to help them?
I mean, I would look at it. I mean, here's what I'd look at is I would look at, okay, so now this is where you got to bring some technology into this. You really got to bring some technology into this. I would index these people. And what do I mean by index these people? I would lift up the hood. If I'm a sales manager, mid-level manager, and I got a sales team that's a blend of tenured uh people, some into their mid part of their career, even some, newbies, just to use that around some air quotes. What I would do as a manager is I would invest in indexing my team. In other words, lift up the hood of my team and see what I have and allow data and analytics to tell me, what do I have? In other words, what makes my people tick? What are they capable of? And if they were coached and inspired, can I get more out of them than I'm getting out of them right now? So in speaking to like these tenured people, I believe it's not motivation anymore. It's, do you understand how to inspire these people to see and achieve things they don't think they can do on their own? And this is intrinsic internal stuff.
Well,
But if I I mean, you get what I'm throwing
yeah,
down?
absolutely.
That that's
Uh,
that's what I'd be looking for,
yep.
because you can't just lay the hammer down on tenured people and expect them to do more. You just
Right.
can't.
Right.
But,
Right.
the sad part is, which is the opportunistic part if you look at it in a different way, is most mid-level managers don't even know what makes their salespeople tick. That scares the
Mm.
you know what out of me. If
Mm.
I'm a mid-level manager, I wanna know what makes my people tick and what are they capable of and what's inside. Because I will tell you this, there's no tenured person that I know in sales that's gonna walk into a manager's office on any given day and say, "Hey, guess what, Jason? I just wanna let you know I've been struggling with prospecting. In fact, you know what? I've been struggling reaching decision makers. In fact, I'm
Yep.
struggling building relationships." There ain't no That's capital N-O. There is no well-tenured salesperson that's gonna expose their weakness to a manager that
Yep.
I know of.
Yep.
They're gonna keep it close to their heart. They really are, because they don't wanna get exposed.
Yeah.
But if you can let data and analytics speak for itself, and you can you can start indexing your salespeople on what's going on inside, then you as a manager know how to start working with your tenured salespeople to inspire them, to pull out of them what they've been holding on to.
Yep.
That's what I'd
Yep.
be doing.
Oof. Well, and we weren't recording yet. I should have recorded it, but just as you were talking about when you start working with companies and piling into the data, we could do a whole other episode on that sometime because
Yeah.
that was just fascinating to be able to look at that and be able to go, okay, we've got to get some really important answers right there. Maybe let's finish the conversation looking at again for those managers and they're going, okay, have I developed a trust first culture? And if they're doing an assessment and they're like, okay, I don't know if I have. What are some things that they can be doing as a manager to be leading so they are developing that kind of culture?
They could take the concept in my second book, which is Selling in a Post-Trust World and a Trust Formula, and they can apply that directly to how they work with their people. It's as simple as this. I'll give them the cruising altitude thing on this, and then, we could dive as deep as you want into it, but I'll just give them the cruising altitude. If I'm a mid-level manager, first thing is I wanna start building authentic relationships with my own people. What do I really know about my people? What are their personal goals, professional goals? What makes them tick? Am I bringing meaningful value to my people? Am I bringing business insights? Am I educating them? Am I pouring into these people? Am I bringing an inspirational experience to these people? Am I inspiring them? Am I breathing life into my people, or am I sucking the life out of my people because I'm micromanaging them? And am I bringing discipline habits? How am I showing up? When am I showing up? And when I show up, what am I doing?
Wow. Wow. Wow, I love that. And I love the chapter on meaningful value and diving into it. You give, I mean, just the playbook right there of being able to walk your team through is just powerful. Oh my goodness, just powerful. Before I let you go fully, and you've given us just this master class here, taken page and a half of notes. We're building our listeners know this. We're building this online communicators library, and we ask all of our guests, and we put all their info, we put their thoughts in there, and then hopefully it's just a place where they can go and spark and get new ideas. But we. A lot of us on here, we speak for a living, or we're in rooms where
Huh?
we got to do sales presentations, those kind of things. Is there a speaker that every time you hear them, you're just absolutely blown away? They check off the boxes. You can't wait to tell somebody about them. Speaker that you just highly recommend.
I think one of the best people I've ever seen speak professionally on stage, Meredith Elliott Pell, hands down, best speaker I have ever seen on stage. I've seen a lot. Hands down, she's the best.
Wow. I love that. You have a great podcast. If you're, not all of us are podcast listeners. If you do, is there a guilty pleasure or a development podcast that you just keep going back to, you highly recommend for people, leaders to listen to?
Craig Rochelle Leadership Podcast.
Absolutely.
Hands down, the best.
I followed him once. I was at an event and I was like, oh, it's Craig Rochelle. And I followed him. He caught on. He kind of looked behind and I was like, okay, I was caught.
That's so good.
And then a book. This is going to be a tough one, but is there a book every leader should read? For you, it's just like, you got to make sure you read this book. You highly recommend it.
Oldie, 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 and it could be leadership, it could be sales. It sits on my desk. It's Think and Grow Rich. Massive Napoleon Hill junkie. Massive Napoleon Hill. Every leader should read it. Every executive should read it. Every salesperson should read it. In fact, I'll show you this. It sits on my desk. It's yellow page. I mean, you can see this thing is yellow and brown. That's how old this book is. It sits on my desk.
Wow.
I reference it all the time.
I love it. I love it. Those are great. We'll put those in the library. Where's the best place our listeners can go find out more about you and get information about your books and
Oh,
resources?
thank you. Thank you for asking. You can go to sellingfromtheheart.net. You can find out everything you want to find out about what we're up to, our podcasts, all of that. Uh, it's not too hard to find me on LinkedIn. I'm out there. And then since everyone's got a mobile device real close to them, if you just text the word trust to 21,000, just text the word trust to 21,000. We'll send you all kinds of goodies and freebies right to your phone.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. Absolutely love that. Larry, it's such an honor. Thank you. I mean, the
Oh,
way
my
that you
pleasure.
just so freely and generously share your wisdom, this has been awesome. We're going to make sure we'll put all this in the show notes in the speakers group. Listeners, make sure you'll look for that in Facebook. We'll make sure we put the books and all of that information. Goodness, thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. Talk to you soon.
Thanks for tuning in to today's episode of the Speak with People podcast. It means the world to us when you share this episode. Thanks for liking, subscribing, or following the podcast. That really does help the podcast get into more ears and into more leaders listening. Also, don't forget, we have two exciting resources for you. The first is go to Facebook and join the speakers group. This is a community designed for leaders who want to grow their communication skills. Also, go to speakwithpeople.com/skills library to access the Communication Skills Library. It is an online resource chock filled with resources that will inspire you and transform you and grow your communication skills. Thanks again for being a part of the listening community. We cannot wait for the next episode.